In this video, I'm going to introduce myself and my son to all of the people who will be following us on our 2021 Pacific Crest Trail thru hike. Let's go! After our PCT announcement video last week, we received a ton of positive comments from people looking forward to following our journey. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for the great comments. It's just been awesome. Like many of you, I really enjoy following hikers on YouTube throughout their journey. And when I'm watching a hiker, I do like to know just a little bit about who I'm watching. So with that in mind, I figured this would be a perfect follow-up to last week's video. We gave you a little bit of a taste of who we were, but in this video, I'll go in a little bit more detail about our personalities, things we're looking forward to or fearing on the trail, that kind of stuff. We'll start with me. I'm 51 years old and I'm married to my wonderful and supportive wife, Jennifer. We've been married for 22 years. We have a 19-year-old son, AJ, who is a sophomore in college, and our 17-year-old son, Callan, who just recently graduated high school and will be heading off to college in the fall. Callum will be my partner in crime as we go through this adventure. We also have a dog, Maverick, who is absolutely spoiled rotten. You may have seen Maverick make an appearance in a couple of my videos. If you want to get a good glimpse at him, you can check out my Ice Age Trail video that I took on a walk with him, where he kind of just steals the show. My home state is Wisconsin, where I have lived for most of my life. And right now, here's a view outside my house and what we're dealing with today. As you can see, I pretty much live in an unholy frozen hellscape. As I mentioned in the last video, I did recently leave my job where I had worked for 28 years, all of that with the same company. Most of that time spent in technology leadership. And it's been a bit of an adjustment since then. I've got a lot of stuff done around the house, worked on the YouTube channel, and spent a lot of time preparing for our trip. I try to make life easier for my wife as well. I make her a lunch every day, try to make something nice. And then also on Fridays, I put together a cheese platter and a glass of wine and have that ready for her when she's done working for the day. Just a bit about my personality. I would definitely describe myself as an introvert. My perfect Friday night would be cooking dinner for my family and then curling up with a dog and a good book. Although when I am out on the trail, I am a little bit more outgoing because I love to meet new people and share stories. It's just one of my favorite parts of the trail. One of the challenges I'll be facing is the fact that I'm allergic to bees. So I will be taking a couple of EpiPens with me and also some Benadryl just in case I get stung. I have seen a couple of PCT hiking videos where people are going through these huge swarms of bees in the desert, and I really hope I don't run into anything like that. But if I do, well, we'll just have to deal with it. My biggest fear going into the hike is not lack of water or bears or snakes or bees or anything like that. My biggest fear is getting frozen shoes. And that may seem kind of funny, but I remember watching one of Dixie's videos where she was in the Sierra and her shoes were frozen rock solid in the morning. And I was just like speechless. I'm like, what is that? I just don't want that to happen. And so if I have to, I will literally sleep with my muddy, wet shoes in my quilt because I am not dealing with frozen shoes. So let's talk about Callum for a minute. He is not a fan of the camera at all and declined to do an interview for this video. So I'll take care of that on his behalf. Callum's been hiking since he was 10 years old and has loved it since the minute he set foot on the trail. Backpacking can really test your mettle, and Callum has shown resilience beyond his years on many occasions. He can embrace the suck along with the best of them, and I think that is going to serve him well throughout his whole life. One of my favorite Callan backpacking stories happened in the Grand Tetons. He was hiking down the trail just a little bit in front of me, and we heard some rustling off to the left of the trail. Well, all of a sudden, this bull moose comes trotting out onto the trail, and it turns up the trail heading right toward Callan, and it got to be like 15 feet from him. Well, he just spun around and bolted right past me. I don't think I've ever seen him move that fast in my entire life. And luckily the moose decided to veer off the trail and didn't get any closer than maybe 10 or 15 feet. But the best part was afterwards how he was describing his reaction to the moose. He slowly backed away and got to a safe distance. Right. What I saw was a panicked kid streaking down the trail. It was pretty funny. But then when we called my wife afterwards, when we got back to camp and explained what was going on, he described himself as a moose attack survivor. Yeah, so we've been giving him a hard time about that ever since. While my biggest fear is frozen shoes, Callan's biggest fear is doing stream crossings in high water in the Sierra. And that is definitely a legitimate fear because those can be quite dangerous, especially considering the time of year that we'll likely be going through there. Now, I think his fear is kind of rooted in an incident that he had one time where he slipped off of a big rock, fell down into the water, and lost his trekking poles. Luckily, we were able to recover them, but it was a pretty scary situation, so I kind of get why he doesn't like it. At the end of the summer, Callan will be entering college at the University of Wisconsin. He plans to pursue a degree in biology and hopes to enter a career in the medical field. In terms of our backpacking experience, this is going to be our first long thru hike. The longest hike we've done to date is the Jon Trail in 2018, and that was about 200 miles. And an experienced backpacker once told me, hey, if you can do 200 miles, you can do the whole PCT. I guess we'll find out, right? We are pretty comfortable on the trail, and we've done backpacking pretty much all over the country, so we're excited about it, we're confident, and looking forward to it. One question that we've had is why? Why are you guys doing this? Why are you choosing to hike the Pacific Crest Trail? And for us, the answer is pretty clear. We feel like it's what we're supposed to do. Anytime we're not on the trail, we just kind of feel drawn back to backpacking. And when we get to the trail, it just feels like we're in the right spot. And we know that we're going to have a great time. We know there's going to be difficult challenges. There'll be things we could have never predicted. There'll be highs higher than we could ever imagine, and there'll probably be lows that are lower than we could ever imagine. But we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great challenge, and it's something we've known we wanted to do for a long time, and we're going to go pursue this dream. So I hope you learned a little bit more about us. If you have any additional questions, please leave them down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to do a Q&A video before we leave on our trip. As always, if you found any value in this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks, and we'll see you out on the trail.